My name is Mohit Mehta and I am a solution engineer in Snowflake Data Clean Room team. Today I am going to share a quick start guide that will give you more details on cross cloud auto fulfillment, which is also known as LAF within Snowflake Data Clean Room. This quick start video covers the steps you need to successfully implement the LAF feature in your clean room. I will walk you through what LAF is, how it's important within data clean room, its prerequisites and some limitations. I will also provide details on some best practices and troubleshooting tips. With what is cross cloud auto fulfillment? Cross cloud auto fulfillment, which is known as LAF, is designed to streamline and automate the process of sharing and replicating data products such as clean rooms across different cloud providers like AWS, Azure, and GCP, as well as into a different regions. So now, how LAF is important for data clean room. So in the default data clean room environment, a clean room can be shared only with accounts in the same cloud region. That means that provider and consumer must be in the same cloud region if they want to share the clean rooms. Now, if they want to collaborate with the collaborators whose account in a different region, at that time we have to enable a LAF for the data clean room. So why it's important? LAF is essential for data clean room because it automates, secure, and simplifies cross-cloud data collaboration. So this capability is crucial for organization that needs to collaborate securely with partners and clients in a data clean room who may be operating on a different cloud platforms or in a different geographic region. Listing auto fulfillment makes it possible for organizations to work together efficiently and safely, regardless of their underlying cloud infrastructure or region. We discussed what is LAF and why it's important for data clean room. Now let's see what are the prerequisites for the LAF feature to be enabled. In order to enable a LAF for an account, first it's required to enable global data sharing for that particular account, and this needs to be enabled on both provider and consumer accounts. This parameter can only be enabled by org admin. So first we have to make sure that the org admin role is enabled for both provider and consumer account prior to executing this system function. So here we can see these are the prerequisites and this is the parameter which needs to be enabled on both provider and consumer account. And to execute this, as I've said, we need an org admin role. So we have to make sure that that org admin role is enabled on the account. So I have a one small script which I can show you. So the following example determines if the global data sharing is enabled on the account or not. So let's say I already have a org admin role enabled, so I'm using it, and first I'm checking whether the global data sharing parameter is enabled on my account or not. So as we can see, this is saying true, which means that the global data sharing parameter is enabled. Let's say if it's saying false, then we have to run this enable global data sharing for this particular account, and over here I'm using my account name. So let's execute it. So it's saying that the statement executed successfully, which means that after running this enabled global data sharing for an account, the data sharing functionality is enabled in this particular account. And as I've said, this needs to be enabled on both provider and consumer accounts. As we have enabled the global data sharing parameters on our accounts, now let's see how to enable a LAF feature for data clean room. So there are two ways you can enable LAF feature. First is via Snowflake Data Clean Room UI. This is the one way you can enable it. A clean room administrator can enable the cross crowd auto fulfillment feature uh, at the account level for all the new and existing clean rooms. Here are some of the steps which you need to follow to enable it on the DCI UI. And you can also enable the LAF feature via API. So I'll quickly show you how to enable it uh, on a DCR UI first, and then I'll show you how to enable it via API. So this is one of my clean room like account, which is a provider account. So as we can see under the Snowflake admin section, we have a cross cloud auto fulfillment feature which is managed at the account level. So currently it's in the default state of disable. Now as we already enabled the global data sharing parameters, I just have to toggle this option, and it will ask me to enable it or not, because there are some additional cost associated with the cross cloud auto fulfillment. And once I'll click on enable, it will enable the cross cloud auto fulfillment feature for this account. And make sure that you have to do it for both provider and the consumer account. So as we can see, now the cross cloud auto fulfillment is enabled for this account. This is how you can enable it via Snowflake Data Clean Room UI. Now let's see how to enable it via API. So as we know, like we have already enabled this system parameter. Now the following API calls are to check if the LAF is enabled on this account or not. Let's see. So this is the API call which we are using to check if the cross cloud auto fulfillment is enabled at the account level or not. So I'm using the account admin role, and let's see. So as we can see, it's showing true, which means that the LAF is enabled on this account. Let's say if it's showing false, then we have to run this call statement of enable LAF on this account. So we can see that cross cloud auto fulfillment enabled for this account. This is how you can enable it via Data Clean Room API. So make sure that when you are enabling the auto fulfillment via API, the call must run on both the provider and consumer account via account admin role. LAF enabled on both our provider and consumer account. Now let's focus on some of the best practices and limitations associated with LAF feature. So as a part of best practices, we have to make sure that the org admin role is enabled on both the provider and consumer account. The reason is, as we have discussed, we have to enable a global data sharing parameter on both provider and consumer account, and here are the details about that parameter. And once that parameter is enabled, you also have to make sure that the LAF feature is enabled on both your provider and consumer account. Other best practices include you have to ensure what refresh frequency is set at the account listing and clean room levels. So we have a functionality called refresh frequency, which is usually used while requesting the data between provider and consumer account on a different cloud regions. And here are some of the example. So you have like a provider run request from the provider side to consumer. Then if you have a older clean rooms, by default it is set to 24 hours. Whenever I'm saying it's set to 24 hours, which means that the Updated data will be available after 24 hours for that LAF listing. And in any clean rooms which are created after July 24, 2025, the default time is 30 minutes. And here is one of the function which you can execute by calling set LAF DCR refresh schedule. So this is the details. You can run it on a provider account, and you can change the timing for your LAF refresh schedule. Here are some of the other examples, like if you are requesting some new templates to be added from the provider side, then by default for older clean rooms it was 1 hour, but for a new clean rooms which were created after July 24th, it's a 10 minutes. So you have to make sure about how frequently your data needs to be available for a provider and consumer side, and accordingly you have to change these settings. But make sure that along with that there are some additional costs associated with the collaborators who are in different region, and here is the section from where you can get the details about how the auto fulfillment costs are being calculated for a compute as well as for the storage and the for data transfers, which including egress. So you have to make sure this like cost factor as well when you are doing a replication between like a provider and consumer associated with LAF. And the another best practices including is like the provider must mount the request share if they want to enable request based actions between provider and consumer. These are the details about some of the best practices. Now there are some limitations associated with LAF. Let's go over to those limitations. So when you are using a data clean room, so collaborator must share the same UI hosting region. So let's say if the provider is in North Virginia region in US East like a region, and the consumer is in Asia Pacific region, then this account cannot collaborate via DCR UI. However, they can collaborate using the API. So if you want to use like a data clean room UI, you have to make sure that both accounts and clean room are configured uh, in the same UI hosting region. Here are the details which you can follow. So if your provider and consumer are part of these regions, then they can collaborate. But let's say if the provider is a part of US East AWS US East North Virginia, and consumer is a part of AWS Canada Central, then it cannot then they are not able to use the data clean room for a LAF feature. But yeah, means they can still use a API for that. And a provider cannot use a differential of privacy in the clean room. Like the third limitation is like collaborators, which means consumers cannot link the external tables or iceberg tables in the clean room. A consumer cannot run multi-provider analysis. And this is one of the like most important limitation we have right now with LAF. An account cannot be act as both provider and consumer in a cross cloud collaboration scenarios. So let's say if you are acting as a provider at some point, you wants to be a consumer on the same using the same account, that cannot be done in a LAF scenarios. This is because of the replication type conflict occurs, and these are the limitations associated with LAF. Discuss some of the best practices related to LAF. Now let's discuss some troubleshooting tips if you are encountering any of the error with the LAF. So one of the error like customer usually see is like the specific listing database is part of another auto-fulfilled listing. This particular error comes up when you are using a same database which is already a part of a listing. So as a LAF limitation, you cannot use same database into multiple listing. So that is the reason you are seeing that error, and to overcome that error you might have to use another database, or you have to drop the existing listing if it's not in use. Second most common error customer are seeing is auto fulfillment is partially failing because the listing has a dependency on object that are not compatible with the auto fulfillment. So the auto fulfillment listing has a dependency on objects that are not compatible with the cross cloud auto fulfillment. For example, task and streams are not supported with the LAF, and here is the documentation page for that. These are the all objects which can be used in a LAF scenarios. So you have to make sure that whatever objects you are getting into a data sharing are supported with LAF. The other error which you like customers usually see is that cannot auto fulfill the listing, and this error usually comes when either the provider or consumer don't have a LAF enabled. To resolve this issue, make sure that you have followed the best practices of like enabling data sharing, and also enabling the LAF for the both provider and consumer account. And there are some limitation associated with the data data size. So right now auto fulfillment enforces a 10 TB limit on a size of the data product. So if you are encounter any sizing error, you have to make sure that the database is not a larger than 10 terabytes. We have that like details documented. So currently auto fulfillment is unavailable for that because of the data product associated with a database larger than 10 TB. So you have to make sure that the data size is less than 10 TB. The one of the like a limitation as well as troubleshooting tips I want to share with you is like you cannot use a same account as a provider and consumer in a cross cloud collaboration scenario due to the replication type conflicts, and that is the reason you have to make sure that if you are already having an existing listing as a provider, you act as a provider. If you want to act as a consumer, you have to make sure that you are clearing that existing listing and changing that role. But yeah, as of now you cannot act as a provider and a consumer on a same account with the LAF.